Hi everybody, Jan Garrett here, and welcome to yet another song. But I have to tell you, this one is one of my very favorites. It's called Weaving a Web, and it's a song that I wrote many years ago now, actually, for a children's theater production of Charlotte's Web. It's a beautiful book, a kid's book, written by E.B. White. E.B. White is a fabulous writer, and it's a lovely story. If you've not recently read Charlotte's Web, or if you've never read it, I highly recommend it. It's a lovely story. So, how I came to write this song was my daughters, Annie and Becky, my twins, were in kindergarten at this beautiful school we have here, like an alternative school called Aspen Community School. It's kind of an artsy school. And they had told me that for their spring production, for their spring musical, they wanted to do a version of Charlotte's Web. And I was like, I love that story. And I said, and I know there's recently been an animated version where they have some really pretty good music. And they said, oh no. No, we always write our own music, for our productions. And so I got roped in a good way, to write the music for this. And one of the things, I'm going to sit down for a sec. One of the things I really enjoy about writing for theater or plays is that you have characters that are going to be speaking through the music. And in this particular instance, the one who's singing this song in the play is Charlotte. Charlotte is a beautiful, big, gray spider who lives in the corner. Her web is in the corner of the barn door where Wilbur, our lovely little pig, lives. That's basically the whole story, is between Charlotte and Wilbur, the other animals in the barn cellar, and some of the humans too. At this point, Wilbur has been watching Charlotte spin her web, and she's going to do some really magical things as the story goes on with writing in her web. But at this point, Wilbur's been watching, and he was like, oh, Charlotte, you are so beautiful, and you're so clever, and you're so talented, to be able to, spin these webs. He said, I can't do that. And she said, well, yes, it's a lovely thing, and I'm really grateful that I have that special talent, because that's how I make my living. But she said, Wilbur, talent carries its own burden of responsibility. And when you are weaving a web, you have to be really careful that you know what you're doing, because one false step and you might get caught in your own web. She says deception is a dangerous game. So I had that feeling of that was what Charlotte was going to be saying. And then it came to, okay, what kind of music would really support that? And here's what I started hearing. Can you hear how it's kind of spidery? And it's got this beautiful lilting, kind of up-tempo waltz, like a 6/8 feel. And to me, it started sounding like, I don't know, Russia, or, Ashkenazi Jewish or something like that. It sounded like a weaving, So I began with that. And then after I got the music started, the words came pretty easily. I will say this, and of course I'm aware that every songwriter has his or her own process, how they do stuff. But for me, often what will start happening is I'll get a picture in my mind of what's going on. And then things will just start speaking. And it's like, well, I call it my song angels, It's not that I'm figuring this out, with the left hemisphere of my brain. It's like, once it gets going, stuff just starts coming. It's an inspiration. Maybe you'd call it, I don't know, the muse, but I'm very grateful for the song angels and for having this song come out the way it did. I will say, well, for example, here's how it starts. Weaving a web a silvery thread. Watch what you've woven. Take care what you've said. It could be a lie or some poison you've spread. Deception's a dangerous game. Woo! And so it's like suddenly the audience, the ears perk up. And I will say to you guys, as you're listening to me sing, I will sing really soon here. As you're listening to the song and you're being carried along by the feeling in the music, if any of this feels like it might pertain to you in your individual lives, or it might pertain on a larger scale, collectively, I say go for it. Here's one of the other verses. You use what you're given to do what you do. Be sure your intentions are clean. If you get too wrapped up in clever designs, you'll find yourself trapped in your dream. So as the music starts playing out, all those verses are in a minor key, and then a little B part comes in to a major key. So you're kind of going back and forth, you know? It's the silvery thread, and it's getting caught with the deception, but then getting free of that, and coming from more of a deep place of understanding that you're grateful for the masterful weaver of all, for the magical gifts coming through. So there is something magical to me about this song. Before I get to singing it, I do want to say one more thing, which is going back to the production that we did. This is ages ago. The kid who played Wilbur. Now Wilbur is this adorable little pig who is about to find out that pigs get turned into ham and bacon, and it's going to freak him out. And he and Charlotte then have this whole beautiful situation that happens between them. The kid that played Wilbur was this really cute guy. This is an 8th grader. His name was Brent. And he was just a little bit pudgy, you know, and he had the loveliest singing voice. So he was the perfect Wilbur in this play. And we loved this song as Charlotte sang it to him. Later, of course, after the production and a few years later, Brent, the kid that played Wilbur, was in a really bad car accident. And he was pretty messed up physically, and it did some brain damage as well. So he did survive, and he lived for some years after that, but eventually, very sadly, he had a seizure and Brent passed away. So after he died, his mom was going to do a memorial service at the monastery here close to where we live. And she asked me to come and sing a couple of songs. And I said, certainly, I would do that. So I think it was a Saturday morning. So on that morning, I realized I wasn't sure I had all the words down to the songs. I thought, well, I got to print this out, you know, and just have a little cheat sheet for myself. So I went to the computer, I got everything lined up and turned on the printer and pushed the right button. And I heard this terrible sound coming from the computer. It was like, oh man, oh no. It was like weird sounds I'd never heard from my printer. And I thought, man, that's all I need is to have the printer not work and, you know, not be able to have the lyric. So I waited until it, you know, did its thing and it, you know, the piece of paper came out. And when I looked at it, this is really crazy, but it's so true. Everything was backward. In other words, it did print out the whole song and all the lyrics, but they were flipped so that it was like you couldn't read it unless you put it up to a mirror. It was like a mirror image of the song. And it's like, as far as I know, there is no computer that can do that. I don't know what happened, but it was definitely backwards. And I had to look into the mirror and I thought, print, you're messing with me. You know, it was just amazing. And there was one part that stood out, and that was, let me see if I can find it here. Your web is your living. You catch what you can. A working girl's got to get by. But don't get so smart you forget who you are, or you might end up like the fly. And even as I say that, you guys know I'm getting chills. It's like, okay, I got the message. You know, deception is a dangerous game. Thank you guys for listening. Please stay in touch. The song is coming soon. Thanks. weaving a web, a silvery thread. Watch what you've woven, take care what you've said. It could be a lie or some poison you've spread. Deception's a dangerous game. Your web is your living, you catch what you can. A working girl's got to get by. Don't get so smart you forget who you are, or you might end up like the fly. Weaving a web, watch where you tread. Cheerful detachment will keep you well fed. You've got to be honest and clear in your head. Deception's a dangerous game. You use what you're given to do what you do. Be sure your intentions are clean. If you get too wrapped up in clever designs, you'll find yourself trapped in your dreams. Weaving a web, the fly is misled. Be careful you don't get yourself caught instead. Beware of insidious plans in your head. Deception's a dangerous game. So don't be deceiving yourself as you spin. Give credit where credit is due. Remember the masterful weaver of all, for the magical gifts coming through. Weaving a web, a silvery thread, spinning out beautiful dreams in your head. Keep it in focus and don't be misled. Deception's a dangerous game. Na 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 na. Deception's a dangerous game. Thank you.